From the Clinton Foundation website. In 2014, Dominion Voting committed to providing emerging and post-conflict democracies with access to voting technology through its philanthropic support to the Delian project. As many emerging democracies suffer from post-electoral violence due to the delay in the publishing of election results. Over the next 3 years, Dominion Voting will support election technology pilots with donated automated voting machines, providing an improved electoral process and therefore safer elections. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me. This presentation is about the Delian project, Dominion voting systems, and the Clinton connection. What I just read was a statement on the Delian project published on the Clinton Foundation website. So what is the Delian project? Never mind that spelled backwards, it reads nailed, N-A-I-L-E-D, like what you would do if you had a hammer. From its website, it says the Delian project is a non-governmental organization dedicated to helping jurisdictions implement positive change in the democratic voting process through the application of technology. It further claims the Delian project is a nonprofit organization registered in Canada. It was created as a philanthropic entity by senior election management officials as part of a corporate social responsibility focus in 2012. The name is derived from the Delian League, the first body of democratically elected city-states in ancient Greece. Delian maintains a seasoned board of directors and advisors. And they've got jokes, ladies and gentlemen, they've got jokes. Its mission statement claims the following. Enabled by local and international funding models, the Delian project brings together various stakeholders from the electoral sector in order to support emerging democracies with a particular focus on physically disabled and special needs voters. Use of donated election technology and expertise assists voters with special needs to exercise their democratic franchise while bringing consistency, transparency, and speed to the voting process. This improves the integrity of the vote count and instills public confidence in its legitimacy, while offering independence and dignity to physically challenged voters, particularly the visually and hearing impaired. The ultimate result is a more free, fair, and inclusive election for all citizens. Okay, folks, so special needs, and to go back to the Clinton Foundation website and finish the opening statement in this video, it went on to state this. As a large number of election staff are women, there will be an emphasis on training women who will be the first to benefit from the skills transfer training and use of AVMs, or automated voting machines. It is estimated that 100 women will directly benefit from election technology skills training per pilot election. So the Luciferian cabal is doing what they do best here, and they are using your heartstrings to push something upon you that you know damn well you don't want anything to do with. This has been the MO for quite some time. This is where the rampant unchecked immigration problem in America came from. This is how minority viewpoints, and I'm not talking race necessarily, I'm talking minority special interests, minority ideals, ideas that are an idea held by a minority share of people, no matter the race. This is just another attempt to guilt and emotionally into doing something that everyone knows shouldn't be done. They hit you with the disabled, and then the Clinton Foundation uses some serious mental gymnastics and claims that this Delian project is going to somehow empower women. These people are nuts. There's a $100,000 donation on the books to the Clinton Foundation from Delian, and we see that Delian launched in 2011, and its First pilot program was in June of 2012 in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, in the aftermath of the earthquake when the Clinton Foundation took the country over, essentially, even somehow awarding her brother Tony Rodham, the rights to all of the precious metal mines in the country. And since the first pilot was done here due to the destructive loss of infrastructure after the earthquake, and since the Clinton Foundation looks to have been the first major organization to partner with Delian, I'm betting there's some Clinton control of this project. And as a matter of fact, let's prove it. First and foremost is the Clinton Foundation website, where we find that this project is in fact a Clinton Foundation project all along, and here's a summary of the program right from the Clinton Foundation page. It shows the project start time and estimated to last 3 years. It shows the budget and that it is operating in the countries of Barbados, Dominica, Guyana, Jamaica, and South Africa. Of course, this is after using Haiti in 2012 as their guinea pig. Now that we've gotten to know the Delian project a little bit, let's start connecting it all. We start with John Paulos. He is one of the Greek founders of Dominion. The other was Nick Economicus. That's the Nick that Melissa Caroni of Detroit testified was in Detroit monitoring the election on November 3rd. John Paulos testified in January in front of the House administration regarding 2020 election security. He sits on a committee that combines DHS election officials and private election infrastructure company officials, which happens to be the same committee that stated shortly after the election that the 2020 U.S. election was, quote, the most secure in American history, end quote. In fact, here is a Heavy.com article from November that talks about that, but it also talks about how Dominion is a Clinton Foundation donor. It reads, simply, Dominion has ties to the Clinton Foundation. The company has used lobbying firms that employ lobbyists with ties to major figures like Georgia's Republican governor and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, as well as a lobbyist who donated money to the Republican Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. And these are all true statements, ladies and gentlemen. And the actions of all of these people over the last period of time seems to back this up. Now, this article goes on to mention one of the hidden entities behind this. It says, quote, it has also worked with firms tied to George Soros and Robert Mueller and gets some components from China. But I think it's a little bit worse than that, dear listeners. Understand corporate structure, ladies and gentlemen. Understand how these spider webs are used to confuse and hide true ownership of many entities. Dominion was purchased by Staple Street Capital, and here is the press release from July of 2018. Now, in October of 2020, a month before the U.S. election, Chinese investment bank UBS invested $400 million that we know of in Staple Street. $400 million. And according to their SEC Form D, here's the sick part, folks. Staple Street Investments, according to Owler, an online site that tracks revenue and financial holdings for companies, shows us having only an $8 million a year revenue, but here's the sickest part. Their whole worth, right here on Owler, is $400 million in holdings. The exact amount invested by the Chinese state firm in October. So, dear listeners, based on this, China looks to have 100% majority control of Staple Street as it is its sole funder. And Staple owns Dominion. And our president, over the last 3 years, has went on the offensive against the Chinese trade war waged upon America, the first ever to stand up to the Chi-Coms. And the only states, the ones that all happen to be swing states, the most important ones, all having problems with voter irregularities, are all states which employed a Chinese-owned, Clinton-connected voting system to conduct the elections. Folks, it's all right there if you care to look. And folks, unfortunately, I have a feeling that this all may not be just about taking an election. I'd like to point out another sentence from that statement by the Clinton Foundation, and listen closely. Quote, "As many emerging democracies suffer from post-electoral violence due to the delay in the publishing of election results." Sound familiar? Election day turns into election week, which turns into election month. And here we are working on 6 weeks since the election. They knew, ladies and gentlemen. And this would be a good time to point out something that I believe is very, very significant. Many of you have heard of Lincoln Wood or Lynn Wood. He's an attorney who has taken some big cases and who was working hard down in Georgia to stop the steal. He seems to have some inside knowledge on things that are going on, and it may be because a close colleague of his, whom he is working with now, is a lady named Sidney Powell, who no doubt has been an insider for many months now at least. Lynn is saying that there is something much more nefarious going on here. In a tweet, Lynn said something very interesting. He said this: "Sometimes we get lost in the forest for the trees. I tweeted months ago that 2020 was not about electing Biden and Harris. I warned that we were in an evolving color revolution. The color revolution playbook calls for creating a disputed election. Biden and Harris know they lost. They also knew that they would get caught. Too much fraud. They wanted to get you angry and then angrier with each revelation of fraud. Next step in color revolution playbook is violence in the streets. They could stage an incident of violence to trigger civil war to blame Trump. We fall if divided. We win if unified. Civil war is a disguise. Actually, a revolution, a fight for freedom against China and possibly Iran. When we realize we have a common foe, we will unite for victory. But difficult weeks lay ahead. If I am wrong, mock me, but be prepared." Ladies and gentlemen, my advice to you is to be prepared for whatever they are planning to throw at us. If you enjoyed this presentation, please like, share, and subscribe. And please consider supporting this channel on Patreon. Thank you for watching.